Okay, so welcome back to the playthrough. This is turn 19, part 2. We just resolved the Union event phase. We're going to move on to the Union action phase. So Union action phase, again, just to give you a brief overview if you're new to things, we start with attack track A and we resolve an action for the foremost counter on each attack track. The foremost counter will take a move action, possibly a charge action if it's in attack position number 4 on a roll of 1 to 4 on 1d6. On a roll of 5 or 6, it will take the volley action with the possibility of resolving the sharpshooter action, which I'll explain if it comes up. So attack track A, there is no counter. Attack track B, the foremost counter is the 63rd New York. So we're going to roll 1d6, 1 to 4 will be a move, and then we'll test for a charge. 5 to 6 will be a volley, and we get a 3. So it's a move. However, because the 63rd New York is in attack box 4, attack position 4, we're going to re-roll 1d6. If it's 1 to 4 again, it will charge. A 5 to 6 is a volley. And we get a 2. So that's 2 consecutive march actions, which means that we upgrade it to a charge. So a charge is 1d6 plus cohesion versus 1d6 plus cohesion. If it's higher, if the 63rd New York is higher, they'll suffer 1 hit and inflict 1 hit. If it's equal or lower, so if the 2nd North Carolina wins, it's just 1 hit on the 63rd New York. So this is for the 63rd New York first of all. So that's a 4 cohesion plus 3 is 7. So should be okay here. 2nd North Carolina is 5. Okay, yeah, spoke too soon. So there you go. So they lost. Okay, so 63rd New York does still suffer a hit, but so does the 2nd North Carolina. So they're reduced from 5 down to 4. To be honest with you, again, we're getting kind of late into the game now. It's not enough damage to really threaten, to really cause any threat. But in terms of eliminating, 8 Union regiments, what I really wanted there is for them to, it's still beneficial for me if they go down to 3 and I remain at 5, because I want a higher cohesion when I resolve the fire attack. Okay, so 63rd New York is resolved. Attack track C, foremost counter is the 69th New York. So 1d6 is a 1, so that's a march. We roll again. 1 to 4 will be upgraded to a charge, and we get another 1. So that will be another charge. So this is going to be 1d6 plus 4 versus 1d6 plus 5. So 69th New York first is a 4 plus 2. So that's 6. Okay, so we'll roll anyway, but... And then 5 plus 4 is a 9. So the 14th North Carolina withstand the charge. 69th New York suffers a hit. That reduces it down to 3. Have I got a... Yeah. So that's ideally what I would have wanted to happen over here, but, you know, that's okay. Over here, we have the 130th Pennsylvania. They have a cohesion of 1, which means that they will automatically select and resolve the crouch and reform action. So we're going to roll 1d6. If it's 1, their cohesion will go by +1. So let's try. Okay, it's a 6, so that fails. So this is good. They're possibly going to be replaced by the 7th West Virginia, but this is the weakest link right now in the Union line. So they failed, so cohesion remains at 1, crouch token remains attached. Okay, there is no foremost counter, Union counter in attack track E, so all of the actions for the foremost counters are now resolved. Any counter in a rear attack position that is able to move forward will now do so, but the 14th Indiana in attack track C, there's nowhere for them to move. We've got this one here to resolve. Here it's a little bit different because there's a possibility that they can swap places with 130th Pennsylvania. So if you go back to turn 18, the 7th West Virginia did try to do so, but they failed. They have to make a cohesion check to swap places, so we placed a +1 march token. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to make a cohesion check for the 7th West Virginia, but it's going to be with a +1 bonus. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 will be a success, in which case they will move forward and swap places with 130th Pennsylvania, which is not what I want to happen. Okay, what I ideally want is for this to fail and for me to get at least one oblique shot, possibly a quick reload here in, because this is the only real chance I have now of at least getting a draw. So 1 to 4 is a success. They'll move forward. 5 to 6 is a fail, and we get 4. Okay, so there you go. So they're going to move. So 7th West Virginia is going to move forward. March token is removed, and 130th Pennsylvania. So this represents, we'll move back. So this represents the 7th West Virginia marching through and around the shattered 130th Pennsylvania. This also means, again, I'm doing this just for the sake of completeness. At this stage in the game, it's not going to make any difference. But 88th New York also makes a cohesion check to see if they swap places with 130th Pennsylvania. Like in the earlier turns, like once the third wave is in operation, like this becomes more relevant. Towards the end of the game, it doesn't make any difference, but we're going to go through it anyway. So yeah, this one fails, right? So they fail, and again, for the sake of completeness, +1 March token. 5th Maryland, they make a cohesion check, unmodified. A 1 would be a success, but a 2 is a failure. So that concludes the Union action phase. Next one is removed exposed tokens. So there's 1 exposed token in place, so I'm going to remove that, place it down here. And then that brings us to the Union deployment phase. No more deployment. All 4 attack waves are in play, and to the very important Confederate action phase. So let me just get my page. So we're going to roll 4 Confederate action die. Each die is assigned to a column, and we choose one of the actions from that column. Sorry, that exposed token as well should be removed. Okay. So let's see what we get. Yeah, I think it's pretty much game over now, lads. So 2 1s, a 5 and a 6. The 6 is kind of good, but the 1s, okay, there's no action available. So basically both of these are redundant. There's no orders token, which would allow me 1 reroll, but I can't do that. The 6 is good. It allows me a choice of any action. In here I've got a 5. The 5 gives me a fire or a reload. So let's just take a little look at what we want to do here. What are our options? There really aren't that many. I mean, I think this is the weakest link, right? So I mean, we're going to have to do this one. We're going to have to fire and use oblique fire. I can't think of anything. I'm kind of concentrating so much on what I'm saying that I'm not actually paying that much attention to what's happening in the game. But I think that's like what we need to do. So we're going to use fire here and oblique fire. So let's go through the modifiers. Of course, there's a bloody smoke token in play as well. So that's a -1 penalty. Range is +1. So they cancel each other out. So we've got a cohesion of 4. And yeah, we'll bump it up to exposed fire. Might as well at this stage in the game. That will give us a +1 bonus. So we're going to use exposed fire. So one more time, okay? It's cohesion of 4, -1 for smoke, brings us down to 3, +1 for range, brings us back up to 4, +1 for exposed, brings us to 5. Minior ball value is 2 or higher, which means a roll of 1 will give us devastating fire, which is ideally what we want. So let's have a roll. So 1 to 5 is a hit, 1 is devastating fire, 6 is a miss. Yes! All right. Okay, so the cohesion is reduced by 2 points. There's now a chance. Okay, so cohesion now is at 1. Okay, we have to turn the 2nd North Carolina. They will have to reload, possibly do a quick reload in a future turn. And the minior ball value is reduced immediately by 1 point to a value of 2, which will mean in a subsequent turn, when it reloads, when the regiment reloads, it will drop by another 1. Okay, but basically that was the best result that we could have hoped for here. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one, we'll say it's this one. And that leaves us with the 14th North Carolina. So they're going to use oblique fire. Okay, that means that they can attack into the adjacent attack track. It does, however, impose a -1 penalty, and it can't be used in conjunction with exposed fire. So let's go through the modifiers. So current cohesion is at a maximum value of 5. -1 for smoke is 4. +1 for range brings us back up to 5. -1 for oblique fire brings us back down to 4. So what we're looking for here is a 1 to 4 is a hit, which will destroy it. 5 to 6 will be a miss. A natural 1 does not count as devastating fire, even though the mini ball value is 2 or higher. So 1 to 4 is a hit, and this is pretty much for the game. And there you go. Okay, we still have a chance. We can use the quick reload maybe in turn 20, but that's not what we wanted. So the oblique fire attack fails, and the 14th North Carolina is turned 90 degrees. So the 63rd New York does remain in play. In the following turn, they will take a crouch and reform action, which we're just going to have to hope is a failure. So there is still a chance, and it's not even impossible here either. But using quick reload, which allows us to reload and potentially fire in the same turn, the game still isn't over. It's not looking good, but it's not over. So anyway, that's the 4. Well, the 2 ones count as nothing. So the 2 Confederate actions are now resolved. End of turn phase. We remove the smoke token, and the crouch tokens remained attached because the cohesion is 1, and that concludes turn 20. So 1 turn remaining, and we need one more. We need to eliminate 1 more Union regiment to get a draw. So thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next one.